This is Joseph Jenkins from Entrepreneurship 201. This is my video Infusion assignment. Last class we learned a lot of the dynamics and certain constraints that revolved around the concept of entrepreneurship. I found it very insightful and interesting to learn some of the various types of entrepreneurship and the kinds of roles they can play within our society. While at the same time we learned some of the key aspects of working together as a team to solve complex problems and think creatively. Leadership, entrepreneurship, and teamwork in general is all about creativity. How you work as a team, how you think as a team, and how you creatively lead are all forms of entrepreneurship. Again, leadership and entrepreneurship go hand in hand. No matter what type of entrepreneurial field you want to enter into or what type of entrepreneur you want to aspire to be, you still need to think creatively and incorporate leadership skills. Entrepreneurship as a whole, again, is thinking and working in new ways to solve complex problems in innovative ways. There are many types of entrepreneurial fields. However, in class, I was drawn to one of my favorite types of entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship. Social entrepreneurship, or being a social entrepreneur, means that you are solving social problems in innovative ways. I love this type of entrepreneurship personally because I one day want to be working or starting my own nonprofit organization that is helping people across the country or around the world. I believe that this type of entrepreneurship takes creative leadership and creative teamwork to get problems resolved, similar to our example of passing the plastic balls during class. Social entrepreneurship in its business form means that as an entrepreneur, you go into business to solve social problems rather than making a profit. This does not mean the organization does not make a profit or does not even get paid, but it means that the extra funds or revenues goes back into the organization rather than the investors, the stockholders, or even the founders' pockets. As a social enterprise or a nonprofit organization, employees and founders still get paid. However, it's based on certain requirements rather than a for-profit entity. A for-profit entity, you can own certain stock within an organization, while a nonprofit, there's no stock involved to own. Social entrepreneurships sometimes again form nonprofit organizations that revolve around Section C3, Section 501c3 organizations, which are tax exempt statuses. Other things might be Section 501c4, Section 501c5. These types of organizations are nonprofit, but they're not always tax exempt. Within social entrepreneurship, you also don't have to necessarily form a nonprofit in terms of it being a business wise. What I mean to say is that you can also form grants, foundations, you can also form just scholarship foundations, anything that's geared towards helping the community or solving social problems. Again, this type of entrepreneurship takes keen creativity, keen leadership, and keen creative teamwork to solve problems in the social realm. These problems can be as simple as raising the money for a school drive here in America or working to change the filter system in developing countries where there is no clean water supplies. I believe that teamwork to solve these issues must be insightful and meaningful in terms of meeting the goal at hand, but also be practical. Again, I relate this example to the ball demonstration we did in class. To explain further in what I mean to say, solving social problems as a team must be able to be insightful and implement creative methods that seem sometimes far-fetched at first but could evolve into more practical solutions, but at the same time must be measured with something that is durable based on the funds, time, and resources available. I relate this again back to our ball example because we as a group were limited by the amount of time we had to pass the ball around and that the ball had to be touched by each member of the team. We had to think creatively based on the factors that were against us or placed upon us. Similar to social entrepreneurship, we have to solve a certain goal based on a certain time constraint and a certain amount of funds. For instance, such as the school drive I mentioned earlier, sometimes you're only faced with a certain amount of time to reach a certain goal, while at the same time with the developing countries, sometimes you're only given a certain amount of money to solve the issue in another country. Even in another country, sometimes you have to deal with the politics and government policies involved. All these things need to be factored into your solution as a team when solving social problems. They must be insightful and meaningful, but be measured practically. As a team also, relating this back to our ball demonstration, we each came up, most of us came up with an idea in our groups, and some were rather far-fetched, some were rather kind of strange, but they could evolve over time into something that made our final decision, and that's what a team should do. Come up with strange, far-fetched ideas, and then they let these ideas evolve to solve the social problem. But be measured again with the time constraints, the funding, and any other factors that might be limiting the idea or limiting the solution. That's just where, again, creativity comes into play. If you can be creative with what you have, then you can solve any problem. I relate, again, my definition I said earlier with the ball example while working in groups. We had to, again, we were limited by time and we had to work towards the time. We had to solve problems based on our time. And so that's where creativity came into play and creative teamwork came into play. We each came up with an idea and then had to limit our idea based on what worked for the time at hand. We had to think both creatively and practically based on one idea. Our goal then for the ball idea was to create a solution that was both practical and creative based on the time we were given. This is so similar again to entrepreneurship because it takes creativity to maneuver around time and funding constraints. In the end, the most creative team, which wasn't my team, of course, came up with a solution that maximized all the resources they had. The other team was able to put all the balls in one bag and then toss it around to each member of the team. I believe that the notion of maximizing your resources is the key to entrepreneurship. The team was able to maximize the amount of balls they had combined with the amount of time they had, meaning they won the competition because they maximized both of those constraints. As an entrepreneur, you have to maximize how much funding you have, how much capital you've built, combined with the amount of time and mission you want to solve. That, I believe, is the key into entrepreneurship, maximizing your resources, working with a team creatively to solve problems.